Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hello and welcome back to the Movie Pit Podcast, and this is your Retro Rewatch. I am your host, Chris Renteria, and this week we are looking at the 2006 WWE Studios action movie, The Marine.
Highway Patrol, this is John Triton. You have officers down, multiple assailants. They have a hostage. It's my wife.
All right, two minor background bits on the movie, which, I like doing. This is not just a rewatch series. This is also an information series that I like to do. So this originally was going to be set up for Stone Cold Steve Austin. But they couldn't get a deal done in place. So he would later, of course, star in The Condemned a year later, which we will definitely do at some point here on the rewatch series because I've been meaning to rewatch that. So they went to their next big star at the time, and this was a rising star. He was, he would play a bad guy, and he went from being a bad guy to a good guy. And that man's name was
JOHN CENA!
So in order for Cena to actually film the movie in its entirety without going back and forth between a film set and his wrestling duties, they wrote Cena off TV in a storyline that involves Cena getting stabbed by Jesus, the henchman to Carlito, who Cena was feuding with at the time. That is very specific, and if you're a wrestling fan, you probably remember that, because I do. And I was a fan at that time, so I remember watching this at that time as well. This is also the start of a franchise. This is the other bit, because there are a total of 6, yes, count them, 6 Marine movies. Cena only appears in the first one. The rest of the movies were still done through WWE Studios. The now disgraced Ted DiBiase Jr. Was the lead in the second movie. And then the next 4 movies were led by The Miz, with other WWE superstars appearing in those movies. I have not seen any of the Marine sequels. I haven't heard anything truly outstanding about them that would be like, hey, you got to watch these. So this is the only Marine movie, though, that got a theater release. There is that. That's why we're going to be talking about this one. This also continues the dumb fun action series that the Retro Rewatch has become. Let's talk about the movie. The movie starts off in the Middle East, where there are U.S. soldiers being held hostage, and in comes a unit ready to save them, and only one man can do it. And that man's name is, no, not John Cena. Well, his name is John, but his name is John Triton. That's just a cool name, right? John Triton. Anyway, in the unrated cut, which is the version that I ended up watching on this rewatch, he messes some people up, man. He really, really does. He uses one guy as a shield. It's really the only gnarly thing in the movie, because the rest of the movie is pretty tame in terms of violence, even in the unrated version. So there is that. But we find out later, after he has saved everyone, and everyone is, grateful for his work, that he went against orders. And of course, the military is very much order driven. So he gets discharged and he has to go into civilian life, normal life, which he doesn't want and doesn't know how to do, even though he's got a very good looking wife in Kate, played by Kelly Carlson, best known at the time for FX's Nip Tuck. That was pretty much the thing that she was in at that time. I think she had done other things before that, but I think Nip Tuck was the thing that kind of put her over the edge, mainstream wise. Meanwhile, we get our look at our villains, who are diamond thieves, led by Rome, played by Robert Patrick, of course, of Terminator 2 fame, who knock over a diamond store and make a really messy escape. They blow up a car for really no reason other than have a cool shot and for an explosion budget, I guess. They escape. We later see a cop that will be on their trail named Van Buren. For whatever reason, I forgot to put the actor's name on my notes here. But back to Triton, he's working as a security guard, and some guy comes into the office building. He's working in, talking down to his girlfriend. Triton's like, nuh-uh, and he sort of leaves peacefully. And of course, the guy, being, a tool, says something, and Triton's like, okay, and he chucks him out the window, which would have probably killed the man, especially being thrown by a guy built like John Cena, especially then, although I think he's more jacked now than he was back then. But Yeah, that would have probably killed that man, but no, it didn't. So he gets fired, obviously, because the video goes viral. And Cake decides, you know what, let's just get out of here. Let's go somewhere. And they take a drive, and they stop at a gas station, and it just so happens to be the same gas station where our villains are. And John notices it right away, because obviously he's a Marine, and he noticed something's off, and by the time he wants to go out to Kate, he gets knocked out. And again, the bad guys kidnap Kate, and in order to kill John for no witnesses, they blow up the gas station, and John manages to, not get killed by the explosion. During all this, there's a cop that comes up, and they kill the cop because, of course, no witnesses again. But John takes the cop car, and he calls in for backup because he's like, hey, you got an officer down. These guys are chasing, these guys try to kill me, and they try to kill, and they killed everybody in the gas station, and they also have a hostage. It's my wife, which is a very kind of dumb, iconic line at the time because everyone was just saying how bad that line delivery was, which it's fine, whatever. So we get this pretty decent car chase in the movie, right in the middle of the movie. And at one point, one of the henchmen, played by Manu Bennett, who probably people will know him as Deathstroke in the CW series, and he was also in The Condemned, which we will talk about as well. He has a small role in that. He makes a Terminator reference, like a really just direct Terminator reference. He actually just says Terminator, and we get this shot of Robert Patrick's Rome looking at him through the rear view mirror, and it's just his eyes, and it's like but it's also one of those things like, okay, it's one of those things where it's like, it's so reference heavy. It's just like, oh, here it is. Like, I'm just putting it on the table. It's just like, okay, it's a little eye-rolly, but whatever. It's fine. Chase ends. It looks like John is dead, but of course he's not. He's John Cena. So then we get two different journeys. We get the villain's journey where they're going through this kind of wood and swamp area where one of them gets killed by Rome because he found him annoying. That's really one of the reasons why he killed him. He found him annoying. And then there's this really dumb, needless interaction between Rome and Kate, because Rome thinks that Kate is into him, even though he is seeing Angela, who is one of the only female in the villain group, and it's very obvious they're together. And for whatever reason, he's kind of hitting on Kate right in front of Angela. It's like, what are you doing? What is this? But the angle doesn't go anywhere, other than it sets up a brief fight between Angela and Kate later in the movie. Not like a full-blown fist fight. It's just like a little little brawl. And then we get this weird stories from Morgan, who is played by Anthony Ray Parker. He tells that he's telling the story. He's telling these stories to the group. And at one point later, when they're in this little hut station, or when they get to a little hut station, he tells the group a story of someone that he knew, and then the Deliverance music starts playing. The very classic theme from Deliverance that we all know. And if you thought the Terminator reference was eye-rolling, this is you want to turn the movie off, eye-rolling. It is so dumb, and it's so cringe. And I remember the first time I watched this, I didn't catch it, because at that point, I have never watched Deliverance. I knew the theme, I just didn't know the connection and relation to the two. It's so dumb. It is just so dumb, this reference for that. I don't know. It doesn't go anywhere. Anyway, the other journey that we follow, of course, is John. He follows the group using his hunting skills because, again, he's a Marine. He knows how to hunt people down and know how to survive and everything. And he eventually, at one point, runs into Van Buren, who, knew about the call that John had made before, rushing to chase the bad guys. And Van Buren is like, I've been chasing these people for, years. Let me go with you. And John's like, no, I can do this on my own because I need to do this on my own because they have my wife and there's no way that I'm going to let her get, caught in the crossfire. And Van Buren's like, all right, do your thing. When you find them, let me know and I'll go to you and we'll take them down together. And it's like, all right, cool. John does get to the station at that little river station that I was talking about at one point. He takes down both Bennett and Morgan doing wrestling moves, which is cool. I think he does a chokeslam at one point, which is very cool. And then plot twist, Van Buren turns out to be a bad guy because throughout the movie, which I have not mentioned, Rome is getting messages from a mystery partner who he's going to split the diamonds with that they stole at the beginning of the movie. But of course, Rome being the bad guy is like, nah, I wasn't going to, split those with you. I was going to cut you out. And so the reveal happens. Rome shoots at Van Buren. He kills him. Not really anything, worthy there because it was a dumb reveal. But Triton escapes again, going through a fiery explosion. So if you're counting them, that is 3 fiery explosions he has escaped so far. And Rome, Angela, and Kate then escape and head to a marina where John follows, and John jumps onto the truck that Rome is driving. He grabs Angela and he throws her out of the truck into a passing truck, which is very comedic, but it kills her, obviously. At least I hope it kills her. And there are diamonds, and I guess Angela had the diamonds, and the diamonds scatter everywhere. So, all that work to not even have the diamonds at the end. And, the girl that you're with ends up dead. So Rome escapes the truck because he, rigs it in a way where it's going to go, and Kate ends up inside, or she's stuck inside, and John goes, catches up to Rome. They have a little fight. John, wins because he knocks Rome out. He goes in the truck, saves Kate, comes out. Hey, story's over, right? No, because Rome comes back with the chain, starts choking John out, and in some weird editing, I forgot how he got out of it, but he gets out of it, and he ends up choking Rome with the chain, and he kills him because he lunges him, or he throws him a little bit and snaps the chain back, snapping Rome's neck, and he kills him. And then, John and Kate reunite. They kiss. The cops come in because obviously they've probably been hearing that people have been, blowing stuff up and chasing stuff, and they come to them, and that's it. That's the movie. That is the movie. I just ran down the movie for you in the most shortest way possible. This movie is, again, short. It's not long. It's like an hour and a half, and it moves pretty quick. So there you go. There's the movie. So cons. This is the last time I did pros and cons for the movie. So cons. The Morgan stuff. The cringy stuff. The overplaying of the comedy. This movie plays everything pretty straightforward. It's an action movie. It is an action movie through and through, no matter what. But then we get this stuff with the bad guy. And most of it is the bad guys. Like, a lot of the bad guy stuff is not good. It is very cringy. It pushes on the action comedy territory too much, where it becomes dumb. And it just doesn't mesh well with the rest of the movie. And I have nothing against Parker, who is doing the majority of this comedic stuff, because obviously he's doing what he's been told, and he does it, in a way that the best he could. But it's just the way they put it all together and the way they edit it into the movie. It just doesn't work, and it just kills the vibe of the movie and the pacing of the movie. Just the bad guy stuff is not good. It's goofy. It's too goofy. It's not great. It doesn't do the movie any favors. So if they had done another pass at all the villain stuff, I think it would have been okay. Pros. Like I mentioned, I feel like the rewatch has become, with the exception of the Transporter, because I feel like Transporters wasn't dumb fun. I feel like the Transporter was just overall enjoyable. Death Race and now the Marine, it's dumb fun. It's a dumb fun most of it. A lot of the time, this is more dumb fun. This is more brain dumb fun than Death Race, where Death Race was just dumb fun, where you can have some fun with it, even though, there is some, it's not all that great. I thoroughly enjoyed Death Race, but this one is purely, like, the definition of dumb fun is the Marine so far in the Retro Rewatch series. So yeah, action is decent enough. This is just, this showing off Cena as a star. This is his first movie, role, if I believe correctly, especially his first lead. So it's a bit rough, but this being his first movie, he's playing it straight. Not too bad for his first movie, and you can see that he had obviously potential of being a movie star with this. We'll probably talk about his next movie that he did somewhere down the line, not anytime soon, somewhere down the line, which was 12 Rounds, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I actually ended up watching like the first 15, 20 minutes of 12 Rounds not too long ago, because it was on TV, but I had to leave because I was going to go watch a movie, and I was like, okay, I totally forgot that. I totally forgot a certain someone was in 12 Rounds. And I'm like, oh, I totally forgot about that. Anyway, overall, The Marine isn't all that great of a movie. It's dumb fun. It really is. It feels dated, even for when it came out. It definitely gave off that, like, 80s, maybe very early 90s action vibe. The forced, cringy comedy doesn't do it any favors. I don't know if I can even fully recommend The Marine. I have been wanting to rewatch The Marine for a while. I don't know why. I just got that, vibe for it. And I ended up watching it. It really is just dumb fun. It's maybe it's bad, it's good. That's probably a good label for The Marine. That's probably where I was trying to head, and I finally got there. That's where I was. All right, so that's it for The Marine. Let me know what you thought. Have you seen The Marine? Do you even want to watch it now that I've talked about it? Are you somewhere in between where you have watched it and you just haven't rewatched it, and now you're heard me talk about it and you're like, no, this sounds more dumber than I thought it was. Anyway, let me know. What do you thought about The Marine? The next movie we're going to talk about on the rewatch series, I have it lined up. It's The Big Hit with Mark Wahlberg and Lou Diamond Phillips. So if you want to watch that before I talk about it, there you go. You got your next Retro Rewatch set. I don't know when I will release that episode, but I will be releasing it fairly soon. So until next time, take care of yourselves, be good people, and as always, go watch some
John Cena!